Gotta get back to the camera. What's up, everybody? Kevin Bene back again. This week I have an in-depth product review for everyone. I'm going to be talking about the Yamaha V1 silver-plated alto saxophone neck that I use all the time. Talk about what it does for my sound, and I'll just give like a brief history of why and how I started looking into aftermarket necks. Be sure to stick around to the end of the video because I will be play testing and demoing all of these necks, because what would a product review be without listening to how the actual product sounds and compared to others. Quick shout out to Richard Jones. Thank you so much for the original comment that kind of inspired this video. He asked me what this neck does for my sound. So I see you supporting me, Richard, on my videos, commenting. I appreciate it so much. I always encourage people to comment, ask me questions. Again, your questions I try to answer in videos because it keeps my content rolling forward. It pushes my YouTube channel forward. So before I get into the review, I do want to say if you're new to experimenting with your tone and you are looking to buy new equipment, I wouldn't really start with the neck. I definitely would start looking into reeds and then mouthpieces first, because the neck, they are a bit more expensive, and honestly, they're not going to change the character of your tone much. They're going to shade your tone and shape the color a little bit and give your horn a different vibe and response to it. But that's basically it. And if you are looking for aftermarket necks, make sure when you're buying a neck that is compatible with your horn. Not all necks all fit every horn. So I started experimenting with necks kind of by accident. My Yamaha was in the shop, so in the meantime I was playing on my old Bundy 2 neck for quite some time, and there was something about the response in the Bundy that I wasn't getting in the Yamaha that I really liked. There's a certain type of clarity and focus that the Bundy was giving me. So when I got the Yamaha back, I thought, well, let me take the neck of the Bundy and put it on the Yamaha, and it instantly gave me that response I was looking for. It gave me a lot of qualities that I love of the Yamaha, but just like focus the tone, made the tone a little bit more clear, and I kept playing on that Bundy neck for quite some time. I was completely happy with that setup. But as I got more comfortable with that neck on that horn, it started to feel a little inconsistent with the response throughout the entire range. Intonation was a little funky, and getting into the altissimo range was not so fluid. Plus, it lacked a sort of a fullness that I actually did like in the G1 neck that came with my Yamaha horn originally. So around this time, luckily, when I was kind of feeling a little uncomfortable with the neck, I saw Yamaha came out with a new line of necks, the V1 neck, the E1 neck, and the C1 neck. When I was researching online about these necks, it seemed like what people were saying, that the V1 neck was actually based off of the old Selmer Mark 6 necks, hence the V1 or VI Roman numeral 6. Yamaha's description of this horn, actually let me get it up really quick. Okay, so they say that the neck is free-blowing and extremely flexible, providing the player access to a more extreme dynamic range and wider palette of tonal expression. Pretty vague description, but I'd say it's pretty accurate. And based on the description of the other necks and people's reviews, it seemed like the V1 neck is most suited for contemporary and jazz playing. The C1 neck seems to be more suited for classical players, as they say it has the most focused sound with the least bore taper, and the E1 neck seems to be in between the V1 and the C1 neck with a medium bore taper. Okay, so here are my thoughts on the V1 neck. When I initially put the neck on, it immediately gave me that focus and clarity that I really like and am looking for. Intonation was another thing I noticed right away. Way better improvement on the intonation over the Bundy neck, but even more so over the original G1 neck that the Yamaha horn came with. Especially in the top range. I mean, Yamaha horns are pretty notoriously very sharp in the palm keys and the high range. This neck really toned those down and just made it a lot easier and fun to play more in tune throughout the entire range. Dynamics with this neck definitely are a huge improvement. I feel like with Yamaha horns, there's always kind of like a wall when I'm trying to push through the sound to get louder. With this neck, it's like I feel like I can break right through that wall. It's just a lot more expressive at louder dynamics, and it gives me a lot of punch when I need it, like a lot of a punchier sound if I really need to get that with like some of my R&B playing. And putting the Yamaha neck on the Yamaha horn, it's kind of it's a compatibility thing, just like very fluid response the entire range from the top to bottom. It's so even. Getting into the altissimo range is a breeze, so that's like a huge perk I think of having very compatible equipment in general. The tone the tone of the neck. I mean, it's just a more refined sound. That's like the best way of putting it. Again, I say focused, clear, but it still has a lot of fullness and depth to the sound. Now, how I hear it, with this neck, my sound has a lot clearer of a mid-range, or like the mids are brought down. And as a little side note, I know I talk a lot about the mids of my tone and how I don't like them so much in my contemporary playing. That might be going over some people's heads. So I'm gonna put out a video in the future where I'm going to demonstrate how changing certain frequencies of the tone is gonna affect how we hear the saxophone sound. I'm gonna use like production software with some EQ. It should be a really fun video, so be sure to subscribe to check that video out. It's gonna be really cool. Oh, and the silver plating. So I went with the silver plating instead of, say, the lacquered or any other plating, mainly because it gave me more depth to my sound, a little bit more color, and a little bit more brightness, which I really like. With the silver plating, I also felt like I could push the sound more, and Altissimo, it was just way more responsive as well. Maybe not way more responsive, but it did give a little bit more solidity and control in the top range. All right, so let's get into play testing and demonstrating. So I got 4 necks here. First, I'm gonna be playing the G1 neck that came with the Yamaha horn originally. It was lacquered at first, but I actually took it upon myself in an experiment to take the lacquer off of this thing. What I did was soak it in some really hot water for a while and just take a scouring pad and actually brush the lacquer off of it. It kind of gives it a brush finish. It's not perfect, but it definitely changed the sound to what I was looking for. It gave a little bit more zip to the tone, a bit more brightness. The next neck I'm going to demonstrate is the gold-plated G1 neck, which I got around the same time I got the Yamaha horn. This I used for my classical playing, because that's about the same time I was going off to school to study classical and jazz music. This is a really good neck. I really love playing it for classical music. Then I'm going to do my V1 silver-plated neck, what I've been talking about, and then I'm going to finish it off with that Bundy 2 neck that I have from many years ago. I really love this neck, and hopefully you can hear a difference. Alright, thanks so much for watching the video, everyone. Be sure to subscribe, especially if you want to see more videos like this. Check out some of my other content with videos right there, and probably video right there. You guys are all the best. I will see you in the next one.